Hello viewers, in today's video I will be looking at the MS Stockholm, the ship of death of the Swedish America Line. I hope you guys subscribe to my channel for future videos and updates. MS Stockholm was ordered by the Swedish American Line in 1944. She was built at the Gothenburg shipyard in Gothenburg, Sweden. She was the fourth ship named Stockholm for the Swedish American Line, but was the second of four to actually sail under the name. When Stockholm 3 was sold to the Italians, the proceeds were internally left aside but were later used to finance the construction of the ship after the 1941 Stockholm was sunk during the war. At just over 160 metres, with a gross registered ton of 12,000 tonnes, Stockholm at the time was the smallest passenger ship operating on the North Atlantic route, but the largest passenger ship built in Sweden. She made her maiden voyage on February 21st, 1948, under the command of Captain Waldemar Johnson, from Gothenburg, arriving in New York on March 1st. The Stockholm would continue to sail the transatlantic route, later joined by the new MS Kungsholm of 1952. A 1953 refit expanded Stockholm's capacity to 548 people. On the night of July 25, 1956, at 11:10 p.m. in heavy fog in the North Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Nantucket, Stockholm and the Astoria of the Italian line collided in what was to become one of the history's most notorious maritime disasters. Although most passengers and crew survived the collision, the larger Astoria luxury liner capsized and sank the following morning. Owing to the collision, 50% of Astoриa's lifeboats were unusable. However, a number of ships, including the SS Ile-de-France, responded and provided assistance, which averted the mass loss of life. 5 crew members of Stockholm's crew were killed instantly. Several more were trapped in the wrecked bow of Stockholm's. Despite having lost about 0.9 meters of freeboard, the crippled Stockholm helped in the rescue and ended up carrying 327 passengers and 245 crew members from the Astoria, in addition to her own passengers and crew. After the ship separated and the Stockholm's crew members were beginning to survey the damage, one of the crew members came across Linda Morgan, who had been thrown from her bed on the Astoria as the two ships collided and landed on Stockholm's deck, suffering moderate but non-life-threatening injuries. After the Astoria sank, Stockholm sailed to New York City under her own power and arrived on July 27th. There the crushed bow portion was replaced at the cost of US $1 million 3 months later. January 1960, after being rebuilt, Stockholm was transferred to the East German government, which renamed her MS VÖLKERFREUNDSCHAFT, Friendship Between Nations, operating under the German shipping company, a precursor to Ada Cruises. In 1985, she was sold to new owners. In 1995, she was transferred to the Panamanian company Neptunus Rex Enterprises. Her name was reduced to Volker, and by the end of the year she was laid up in Southampton, England. In 1995, the ship was renamed FRIDTJOF NANSEN and was later used as a barrack ship in Oslo for asylum seekers in Norway. In 1989, the ex-Stockholm was officially sold to the Italian-style Laura Lines, who intended to convert the liner into a luxury cruise ship. The ship was still under charter to FRIDTJOF Nansen and so remained in Oslo until 1993. The ship was towed to a shipyard in Genoa, Italy, Andrew Dora's home port, but when she was arrived, she pressed the label "the Ship of Death" due to the collision with the Andrew Dora. During the conversion, it was discovered that the ex-Stockholm was in very good condition, except for the American-built replacement bow, which needed the most refurbishing. She was completely gutted on the interior and rebuilt from the promenade deck up. New diesel engines were installed and a new bridge was built, extending the superstructure forward. The aft decks were built up and giving her a more modern cruise ship profile. A large duck table was added to significantly alter the stern appearance. Although not very recognisable from original appearance as Stockholm, many elements such as the bow, the anchor, the hull window arrangement, passenger lifts, and stair locations are all visible traits from the original Stockholm design. In 1998, the ITALIA PRIMA was chartered to VALTUR tourist organisation. For this charter, she was renamed MS VALTUR PRIMA, with her name placed over her hull. However, this operation was relatively short-lived and concluded in 2001, when she was laid up in Cuba until 2002. Acquired by Festival Cruise Line in 2002 and renamed CARIBE, she continued to sail to Cuba. She was sold in 2005 when Festival Cruises ceased operations. In 2005, the CARIBE was renamed ATHENA and registered in Portugal. She was reflagged to Cyprus, operating for classical international cruises. In 2009, the ship was chartered to German cruise operator Phoenix Horizon and repainted in the company colours with the turquoise funnel and the company logo. On September 17, 2012, reports were announced that she was detained in Marseille, France for unpaid fuel bills. early 2013, Athena was bought by the recently created Portugal cruise company, Portugal Cruises, and renamed Azores. After Portugal's collapse, an administrator of the ship's former owner, Island Cruises, secured a charter to the Cruise and Maritime Voyages Company, also known as CMV. In March 2016, the ship was renamed Astoria by Cruise and Maritime Voyages, and since 2016, Astoria is the last remaining vessel of the former Swedish-American line still afloat, after the former Kungsholm was scrapped in 2016. In 2021, after Cruise and Maritime Voyages went bankrupt due to the COVID-19 pandemic, she was sold to new American investors who also acquired the MS VALTUR, an old fleet mate from Portugal Cruises. If you guys enjoyed this video on the MV Astoria, the oldest cruise ship still in service, and I hope to see you watching more of my videos.